Senator Rosen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for being here today. This weekend, while I was visiting my home state of Nevada, President Trump called the U.S. asylum process a scam. With respect to immigrants, including asylum seekers, the president said, "We can't take you anymore. Our country's full, so turn around." Our country is full. Turn around. As a granddaughter of Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe, I can't help but think about the time in the middle of the 20th century when the U.S. used security concerns as an excuse to turn away thousands of refugees fleeing Europe, or about the MS St. Louis ocean liner that in 1939 was made to turn around upon reaching American shores. I can't help to think about the many families today from El Salvador, Honduras, and elsewhere waiting in squalor outside our ports of entry because they are fleeing unimaginable violence and can find safety and freedom coming here to the United States. Yesterday, CNN reported that the president told agency personnel to close the ports of entry at the southern border. The president told border agents in Calexico, California, not to allow any migrants into the country. In my home state of Nevada, the UNLV Immigration Clinic has clients from Central America who are teenage girls recruited as gang girlfriends, as young as 12 and 13, meaning they face gang rape, possible death on a regular basis. Under U.S. law, are women and girls like this who are fleeing violence, they're entitled to protection, to at least apply for asylum. In fact, I know this to be true. A person who can prove she would be persecuted because of race, religion, nationality, political opinion, a particular social group, is entitled to asylum under U.S. law. And I assume, gentlemen, that you are aware that just yesterday a judge in California issued an order blocking the Trump administration from requiring asylum seekers to remain in Mexico. So, Mr. Karish and Mr. Howe, if the president were to instruct you and your agents to deny entry to people seeking asylum at the border, in your opinion, do you think that violates United States law?
I will start, Senator Rosen, by saying this, is if they cross between the ports of entry, they are violating U.S. immigration law. So they're going to be placed in arrest. But that still will not stop them from making an asylum or credible fear claim. But in effecting an entry into the country between the ports of entry, they are in violation of the law and they will be arrested.
Mr. Howe?
If they enter the United States across the boundary line at the port of entry and they claim asylum, we would be bound to hear that asylum claim.
So my follow-up question is, would you follow instructions like those from the president, even knowing, Mr. Howe, that they're going to violate U.S. law?
We know what the law is, and our attorneys are here to advise us. They work for Customs and Border Protection and DHS, so I will follow the guidance that we receive from our attorneys.
So knowing that we have this challenge, I guess I'll pose this in another way. Can you describe to me the concerns you have with implementing this administration's current policies?
Ma'am, we've taken an oath of office is to defend this country. Our officers every day go out there and perform a job. It doesn't stop them from addressing the asylum, the credible fear, the different things that they have. We are parents. We are grandparents. Our officers do our jobs as humanely as we possibly can. But understanding is that we do have laws in this country. People have to abide by those laws. Otherwise, we stop being a sovereign country. So it does not, we still feel the heartfelt issues of everyone that we encounter. But we still have to put them through the process. It will not stop them if they do have, in fact, a credible fear that they will have an opportunity.
So you're saying if someone presents themselves for asylum, you will take them in regardless of what the president has instructed you to do?
If they enter the United States between the ports of entry, they will be apprehended. That will not stop them from making an asylum claim.
Thank you. I'd like to follow up a little bit. Last year, I toured a tent city in Tornillo, Texas, of course, near El Paso, where unaccompanied children and separated children were held. I saw teenage children separated by gender, slept in barrack-like conditions, access to legal services limited, and phone calls to relatives or possible contacts were limited and monitored. So, Mr. Howe, I guess I'm going to ask you again, do you have knowledge that about the Tornillo facility, that it was owned or managed by a for-profit company?
I think I'll defer to the commander.
Yes, ma'am. So the Tornillo Temporary Influx Facility was operated by HHS, by the Office of Refugee Resettlement. Temporary Influx Facilities, that one was operated by a nonprofit grantee who also performed services for us operating state-licensed permanent shelters around the country. Temporary influx shelters, such as the one that's open now in Homestead, are not our first choice. Our first choice is to have state-licensed permanent shelter capacity. The
You're
fluctuations
saying they're
that we see-
for-profit institutions that we're leasing. Are they for-profit institutions that we are leasing these services out to?
The Tornillo site was operated by a not-for-profit grantee.
Is, in your estimation, or according to any knowledge that you have, currently are some of our detainees being held in for-profit institutions?
The Homestead facility, the children who are sheltered at Homestead, we are getting staffing services there by a federal contract, and the entity that won in the contracting process is a for-profit.
Thank you. I yield back.